Hello. I haven't done one of these for 2 weeks. I was out of town, so let's recap what happened the last 2 weeks because I did watch the show while I was out of town. Um, so Eugene's not a scientist. Abraham's family bailed on him because he uh, killed some people with his bare fist hands, and turns out they died. And then he found Eugene kind of just walking away, pointing at some zombies, like, "Help me!" And then the next episode was basically flashback episode of Carol, and it went through her stages of life through the apocalypse with Daryl, and they find Noah. Noah robs them for their weapons, and then they end up together. When before the episode ends, the church, the hospital people that have Beth hit Carol with a car and take her in there. This week's episode is called Crossed. Yeah, and I'll read you the description they give on TV. A rescue mission while attempting to hold down the church leaves the group spread thin. What actually happened was, starts off with them in the church, um, tearing down the organs, sticking them outside on the ground. Sasha's hitting the, what do they call it? The bench seat things you sit on in church. She's hitting one repeatedly with the axe. Uh, Gabriel's talking to Daryl. He says, "Are you guys gonna take the cross?" And he says, "If we need it." So Gabriel starts not freaking out, but he tries to scratch the blood off the floor. And he can't. And he's scrubbing it. And Carl lays out some weapons in front of him and says, "You need to learn to defend yourself and pick one." He grabs a machete. He says he needs to go lay down. This episode was pretty hard to keep track of. I hate when they do this since there's three groups. The group's split up into threes. Eugene, Rita Abraham, and Maggie and Tara are still on the side of the road with the fire truck. He goes to them. Um, they're trying to get Abraham some water because he's still just sitting there on his knees, staring up at the sky. Rita tries to hand him some water and makes him try to drink it. And she's like, "Jesus Christ, my 6-year-old nephew doesn't even do this shit." He like slaps the water out of her hand, and then Maggie puts a gun at him and says, "Sit down or I'll put you down." And he eventually sits back down. Eugene's still unconscious on the floor. Um, Goes to Beth. Uh, Dawn and one of her officers are talking about Carol, and Beth is just mopping the floor. And the guy's talking about wasting resources on Carol, and it's only been a day, so Beth kind of freaks out. It's like, "How much does it take to charge your DVD? You do it every day, blah, blah, blah." She's like standing up to him, and Don tells her to cut the cord, like, cut it on Carol, give up on trying to save her, and tells Beth, "You just cost that woman her life." And then the cop leaves. He has like a shit-eating grin on his face. And then Dawn gives Beth the key to the medicine cabinet and tells her she thought she was weak before. Now it's up to you to save Carol's life, type of thing. Then flashback to Rick and everybody in the church. They're not in the church. Just Carol, or they left Carl, the baby, and Michonne with Gabriel in the church. The baby cried more than it did in its entire life in this episode. Um, then it's Rick, Tyrese, Sasha, and Daryl making a plan about how they're gonna get them. The hospital people, they got Noah with them. They're devising a plan about, like, okay, we'll do it quiet and take a couple guys out, and then we'll have Dawn, like, we'll take one cop and have her give us Beth and Carol for it. Um, Tyrese says that's not gonna work. What about if we do this? And he says, well, they end up going with his plan, which is draw some cops out, take them, and swap people. Daryl says that will work. They end up doing that. Um, it, the plan goes off without a hitch almost, because they get two of them. One more comes. Uh, they go to a FEMA camp type of area. I don't know if it was legit FEMA camp or not, but it just said FEMA with like black spray paint kind of, and their zombies actually melted to the asphalt from when they bombed the city because they're in Atlanta. If you didn't know that, that's what we learned a couple episodes ago. Um, so Daryl gets into a scuffle because they all chase after two of the other ones. Daryl came, he opens the FEMA door and nobody's in it. The second cop shows up, headbutts him, they get into a scuffle. He's reaching on the melted asphalt zombies, ends up getting him in the eye, and then bashes the guy in the head with it. Rick points a gun at him and just keeps pointing it at him like it's gonna kill him. And Daryl says, "Rick, 3 is better than 2." So then, it turns out Don and a couple of officers in the hospital were actually cops before. So I'm pretty sure everyone in a uniform in the hospital was a cop at one time. The guy talks about how he was with her for 8 years and he'll help you guys and everything. And then it cuts back to Maggie and everybody on the side of the road with the fire truck. The sea of zombies across down the hill is not coming at him yet. Maggie makeshifts like a blanket with the ladder. Abraham's still just looking at the sun. Or not the sun, he's staring at the sky. Uh, Maggie says, like, get over yourself to him, and puts the blanket with the ladder to cover Eugene so he's not just roasting in the sun. Glenn and Tara and Rita go to the creek to get some more water because it's tapped from the fire truck. Rita rips off a piece of her long sleeve t-shirt to make sure for filter that Eugene taught her. And she's just like holding the bottle and it's slowly dripping. There's fish in the lake. So they get some lining from some zombie jackets and makeshift a net. It works. They get some fish. Glenn talks to Rita a little bit about Abraham, and she says that he asked for her help. Like the first person that ever asked for her help. And since the shit hit the fan, basically, uh, he says if you know how to clean the fish that they caught, and she says, yeah, and she says, oh cool, we're gonna need that. So basically, he says the same thing to her. Tara finds Tara. Sorry, if they're not in the comic book, I forget their names and I mess them up except for Daryl, Bob, I forget who else. Like if they're not, I'm terrible with names. If they're not there for a long time, I don't remember. It happens to me in real life too. Was they drunk? I don't know. Um, so yeah, basically nothing too out of too significant happens. Uh, Sasha and Bob and Tyrese had a little moment, which to me it's kind of like they should have a better relationship. They're brother and sister, but I don't know. Maggie and Beth kind of have a weird relationship too now, cause Beth's kind of just gone and Maggie don't know, and she's just left with Glenn and Abraham. So I don't know. Um, they had a little moment about Bob, cause they went through the same thing, and just had a nice little moment about Tyrese can help her no matter what, and he knows what it's like. So I'm gonna fast forward because nothing else really happens. Beth gives Carol some medicine that will hopefully help her get out of a coma and help with the blood from. She has that car, so she has internal injuries, so it's kind of just guessing. Um, Abraham talks to Maggie for a second and ends up drinking some water. Eugene makes some zombie noises, but Maggie says they'll move to him and you're gonna be fine, so Eugene's not dead. So that's kind of cool. Um, Abraham looks like he's gonna stop staring at the sky and they're gonna make a plan in the next episode. Um, I don't know what they're gonna do with Beth and Carol because they have those cops, but they don't have those cops because one of them's smart and senses that when he says his name is Bob, Sasha makes a little look at him and then offers him some water and he's gonna be okay, and so is she. He talks about how this dude saved his life because Don was gonna put him on a mission with, or he was supposed to get the last group of survivors from Grady, which is where they are. Um, Don put Tyler on it and he's just stuck on the asphalt like a bad joke. And Sasha says if he remembers where, and he says, yeah, I'll take you right to him. She said, well, we're not going outside, but I'm a good shot. So she lines up out the window to shoot it like this, and then he pushes her head into the glass and runs off with his hands tied behind his back with a zip tie, which are really hard to untie when your hands are tied behind your back. Pretty hard to cut like that too. So mid-season finale is gonna be epic, I guess. The pattern is, as always, they get split up, come back together. Someone asshole comes, they get in a battle, they separate again and come back together. So eventually that's gonna happen after the mid-season finale. Somebody's gonna die, don't know who. But come back next week and we'll find out. Subscribe if you want. Peace.